What's going on, gentlemen? And gentlemen and ladies, actually. I need to stop being so sexist. Welcome to second Christmas. It's fucking February the 7th, I believe, and it's started to snow today, so that's great. And of course, me being the child that I am, the little kid, had to come out and run to the forest. I don't care what the weather. It's an opportunity that I can't miss out on, right? Gotta be here. It has been God knows how many years since it last snowed in the UK. I don't know. The last time it snowed was probably, like, properly, where we actually had snow on the floor and it gathered. God knows how long it was. I don't know. I'm gonna wager and say 2 or 3 years now. But anyway, I was reading Epictetus's Discourses today. First thing I did when I woke up in the morning. Well, that's not true. I did look at my WhatsApp for a little bit, which I shouldn't do. You shouldn't check your social media, but I decided to be a bit cheeky today because it is a Sunday. And yeah, I was reading the passage on freedom. Really interesting stuff what he was talking about. Because he was going into the nature of freedom, and he said, just because you're a slave owner, because back then the Romans used to own slaves, it was quite common. He said, just because you're a slave owner doesn't mean that you yourself are not a slave, right? Because the chances are that you are a slave to all your passions, your desires, and your aversions, right? Things that you don't want to happen to you. And you're a slave to these things because they manage you like a puppet. When a condition isn't met, you resist, you're in pain, you're subject to grief or rejection, all these kind of things, and you take these things so seriously. And just like the seasons of the weather, you are never content with where you are. You're always getting moved along by the seasons. You're never stoic, in the sense. You never deal with anything in a manly way. And the way Epictetus uses the word manly isn't, macho. It's more like, can I endure it? If it's endurable, let me endure it, okay? Because what else am I going to do? Why am I going to complain about something that I can't control? It's like if it's snowing today. Let's say I don't like the snow, right? I do love the snow. But let's say I don't like the snow, and I come out, and I'm just, cursing and cussing. I'm like, fuck! Why does it fucking have to snow, man? Fuck! Or let's use the rain as an example. I hate the rain. Why does it have to rain today? What's the point of cussing and complaining when it is going to rain anyway? And there's nothing you can do to stop it, There's absolutely nothing you can do, man. So why complain against it? And he uses the example of, the slave master, and I'm going to take my own take on it, have my own take on it. And I'm going to ask, how many times have you fallen prey to a girl? How many times have you liked a girl, had a crush on a girl, and she didn't really care for you? She didn't really care for you. Like, she had zero interest in you whatsoever. Maybe she had like 2% interest, but you just fell prey to her, and you were basically a simp. Okay, you basically did everything for her. You were a nice guy. You flattered her, gave her gifts and presents, and said nice things to her. Now, I've never done this before, partly because I never wanted to fall into that humiliating situation. The quote-unquote nice guy. But I've told you, I have had instances when I didn't necessarily do the actions of the simp, but I had the simp mentality. I had the simp mentality in the sense of, I like this girl and I wanted to get her to like me. I want to get her to like me, and I would compromise my integrity in small ways, and it would hurt me so much because I love my integrity. I love being, confident and strong and assured. And when I'm not, that's an alarming thing for me. It's an alarming thing because I've fallen prey to, or I've become a slave to a passion. I've become a slave to an object of my desire. Not even necessarily the girl herself, but my image of the girl. Because it is in your head. It's always in your head, right? You think that the girl likes you when she doesn't. she's not really done anything to show you that she even likes you. She's maybe just nice to you because that's just her personality, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she likes you in that way. And how many times has this happened to men, where we've fallen into slavery to a girl, and the girl many a time is not even that attractive. She's a worthless sort of, 5 out of 10. I use the word worthless, I'm taking that straight out of Epictetus' book, because he's using it to describe a slave girl. A guy, a slave master falls in love with his slave girl, or even a prostitute who doesn't like him, but just because of his services, she's forced to, engage in that intimate act with her. But many a times we do the same thing, man. We fall into slavery, into so many different things. So many things we lose ourselves. And I think life is all about attaining that freedom, because you can't call yourself free if you're always falling prey to things that are outside of your control. You now have many masters. And yeah, physically you're not a slave. Physically you're not chained down. But spiritually, mentally, psychologically you are. And I think that's the most important thing. Because if someone's got your mind, they don't even need to physically capture you. They can just play with you mentally, and you'll fall prey to it. It's power. But I think a lot of the times this power, it's unknown to us, which is why we fall prey to it. So how does Epictetus, what's his remedy to this? What's his remedy to this? How does he say one should attain freedom, true freedom? Well, he says essentially to be a watchful guardian against your own impressions, and to constantly be aware of what's going on. To constantly assess these things and say, is this in my control? Is this outside of my control? Is this something I can endure? Can I go through this without complaint or hesitation? If this situation has arisen, do I have control over any aspect of it? What do I have control over? These questions are his remedy, because these questions are what he calls reason, logical reasoning. And through logical reasoning, you can assess what you control in the situation. And ultimately, in most situations, the one thing that you control, which is going to be consistent throughout, is going to be your willpower. The will, and where you put that will, is what you control truly and fully. No one else can take that away from you. Even if you were chained physically as a slave, no one can take your will away from you. Your will is yours and yours alone. And he says that as long as you have your will, as long as you are abiding by that will, you're always going to be free. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be the poorest of the poor. But as long as you keep your will strong and maintain it, you're free, right? You're free. Stoicism is weird because it's so simple. It's so simple. But we are so conditioned by our impressions and conditionings, we forget that, hey, I am in control actually, and I'm getting flustered by these things, but these things I don't control. That's why I'm getting flustered by them. So it's just like the weather. You don't control it, so why get flustered by it? And why? You don't control it. You do control your will though, and that's the only thing you can control. So you should be very, very happy and content with yourself. So there's my message for the day from snowy England. Be content with your will. Be happy that you are free always, and no one can take that away from you. Not even Caesar, as Epictetus says, not even Caesar can take that away from you, because having the confidence of knowing that I am in control of my own volition and my own will and behavior and everything, you can look a man like Caesar in the eye and see him as an equal, because you are not subject to the conditionings that I must obey in a certain way because you're my master, or because you're more superior to me, because that's not in my control. I don't control that, and I don't control what he does either. So that gives you the confidence to do whatever you want. Quite funny, isn't it? But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay free, stay humble, stay great. See you in the next one.